Hi, I'm Jade. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who'd end up in a courtroom testifying against my own in-laws. But here we are. Let me back up a bit and tell you how this whole nightmare started. My husband Marcus and I had been married for 3 years, and we had a beautiful 2-year-old daughter named Emma. Life was pretty good, or so I thought. Marcus's parents, Donald and Patricia, lived about 2 hours away and visited once a month. They were intense. That's the polite way to put it. Jade, you're really going to let Emma eat that processed nonsense? Patricia said one Sunday afternoon, watching me give Emma some crackers. They're organic, Patricia. It's just a snack, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Organic doesn't mean healthy. You know, when Marcus was a child, I made everything from scratch. Everything. Marcus looked up from his phone. Mom, Jade's doing great. Emma's perfectly healthy. I'm just saying, modern mothers take too many shortcuts. And don't even get me started on all these doctor visits. We never took Marcus to the doctor unless he was literally dying. Times have changed, Mom, Marcus said, but his voice was weak. He never really stood up to them. Donald chimed in from the couch. Your mother's right, son. All these vaccinations, all these medications, it's too much. We raised you just fine without all that medical interference. I bit my tongue. Emma had her regular checkups, her vaccinations were up to date, and she was thriving. But Patricia and Donald were what you'd call natural health enthusiasts, taken to an extreme level. Well, I trust our pediatrician, I said firmly. Patricia's eyes narrowed. That's the problem with your generation. No common sense, just blind faith in the medical establishment. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Marcus cleared his throat. How about we change the subject? Dad, how's the garden coming along? As they launched into a discussion about heirloom tomatoes, I took Emma to her room for her nap. That's when my best friend Casey called. Girl, how's the in-law visit going? She asked. Same as always. Patricia just lectured me about Emma's snacks and implied I'm a terrible mother. Jade, you need to set boundaries. They can't just come into your house and criticize everything you do. I know. Marcus says they mean well. Marcus needs to grow a spine, Casey said bluntly. Those people are controlling. The way Patricia talks about modern medicine is legitimately scary. You're preaching to the choir, Case, but they're leaving tomorrow, so I just need to survive one more day. Call me if you need backup. I mean it. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. That evening, things seemed calmer. We had dinner, watched some TV, and I actually thought maybe the visit would end on a decent note. I was so wrong. Around 9 p.m., I was getting Emma ready for bed when she started crying. Not her usual fussy cry, but something different. Something that made my stomach drop. Marcus! Something's wrong with Emma! He rushed in, and we both saw it. Emma's lips were turning blue, and she was struggling to breathe. Her fever spiked to 104 degrees within minutes. Oh my God, I'm calling 911. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand. That's when Patricia burst into the room. What are you doing? Emma can't breathe. I'm calling an ambulance. Absolutely not. Patricia lunged at me and grabbed my phone. She just has a fever. A cool bath and some herbal tea will fix this. Are you insane? Look at her. I tried to get my phone back, but Donald appeared in the doorway blocking my exit. Patricia's right, he said. Hospitals do more harm than good. We'll handle this naturally. Get out of my way, I screamed. My daughter needs help. Marcus stood frozen, looking between me and his parents. Mom, maybe we should— Marcus, don't you dare side against us, Patricia snapped. We raised you and you turned out fine. This is just a fever. Stop being so dramatic, Jade. I ran for the hallway, trying to get to the landline in the kitchen, but Donald was faster. He ripped the phone cord from the wall. I heard a crash from the bedroom and ran back to find Patricia holding my smashed smartphone. The screen shattered on the floor. You're not calling anyone, Patricia said coldly. Emma's breathing was getting worse. I could hear her wheezing, struggling for air. You destroyed my phone, I shouted, my hands shaking. My baby can't breathe. She's fine. You're overreacting, Patricia said. But I saw her hands trembling too. Marcus finally moved, kneeling beside Emma. Mom, she really doesn't look good. Then do something useful and get her into a cool bath instead of enabling your wife's hysteria, Donald barked. I looked at Emma's little face, her chest heaving with effort, and something in me snapped. I remembered my laptop was in the bedroom. I could use the Wi-Fi to call for help online. I ran for it, but when I opened it, there was no internet connection. Did you cut the internet too? I asked, my voice deadly quiet. Donald crossed his arms. We're not letting you traumatize our granddaughter with a hospital visit over a simple fever. Emma started making a horrible rattling sound. That's when I knew I had to get past them physically. I scooped Emma up and ran for the front door, but Donald blocked it, his tall frame filling the doorway. Move! I screamed. Calm down, Jade! You're being irrational! I didn't let him finish. I kicked him hard in the shin and pushed past while he yelped. I ran out the front door in my pajamas, holding Emma, and sprinted to my neighbor's house 3 doors down. I pounded on the door. Mrs. Chen, our elderly neighbor, opened it in her robe. Jade, what's wrong? Please, I need your phone. My baby can't breathe and my in-laws destroyed my phone and cut the internet. Her eyes widened. Come in, come in. She grabbed her phone and handed it to me while I laid Emma on her couch. I dialed 911 with shaking fingers. 911, what's your emergency? My 2-year-old daughter can't breathe. Her lips are blue, she has a high fever, and she's wheezing. Please hurry. What's your location? I gave the address, and the operator kept me on the line, giving me instructions. Mrs. Chen brought a cool washcloth for Emma's forehead. The ambulance is on its way, sweetie, Mrs. Chen said softly. You did the right thing. My in-laws tried to stop me from calling. They smashed my phone and cut our internet. Mrs. Chen's face hardened. They did what? They don't believe in doctors. They said Emma just needed herbal tea. That's not just wrong, honey. That's criminal. The ambulance arrived within 7 minutes, though it felt like hours. The paramedics rushed in and immediately started treating Emma. One of them looked at me seriously. How long was she like this before you called? Maybe 15 minutes? My in-laws wouldn't let me call. They destroyed my phone and blocked the doors. The paramedic exchanged a glance with his partner. We need to transport her now. She's having an allergic reaction, possibly anaphylaxis. Another 10 minutes and... He didn't finish. My blood ran cold. They loaded Emma into the ambulance and I climbed in with her. As we pulled away, I saw Marcus running out of our house. His parents stood on the porch, Patricia with her hand over her mouth. At the hospital, doctors confirmed it was anaphylaxis from a severe allergic reaction to something she'd eaten. They said if I'd waited even 15 more minutes to get help, Emma might have died. Casey arrived at the hospital within an hour of my text. Oh my God, Jade, is she okay? She's stable now. They gave her epinephrine and steroids. She's going to be fine, but Case... My voice broke. She almost died because of them. Where's Marcus? In the waiting room with his parents. I told him not to come near me right now. Casey grabbed my hand. You need to call the police, Jade. What they did was criminal. I know. I'm just so angry and scared and... A police officer appeared in the doorway. Mrs. Morrison? The hospital staff notified us about the situation. I need to get your statement. I told him everything. The destroyed phone, the cut internet, them blocking the doors, preventing me from getting help from my daughter. As I spoke, Casey squeezed my hand. Do you have witnesses? The officer asked. Mrs. Chen saw me run to her house with Emma. She saw the state Emma was in, and the paramedics documented that this was a life-threatening emergency. I'll need to speak with them, and I'll need to speak with your in-laws. This could be charges of child endangerment, criminal mischief, and unlawful restraint. Good, I said firmly, because they almost killed my daughter. Casey nodded. I'll testify to anything you need. I've heard Jade talk about their anti-medicine stance for years. I'll swear to that. The officer left, and Marcus appeared in the doorway. His eyes were red. Jade, I'm so sorry. Get out. Please, let me explain. You stood there. You watched your mother destroy my phone while our daughter struggled to breathe. Get out. Casey stood up. You heard her. Leave. Marcus retreated. and I turned back to Emma's room, where my baby girl was finally breathing normally again. 2 days later, Patricia and Donald showed up at my door. I opened it, but left the chain on. "What do you want?" "Jade, we need to talk," Patricia said, her voice sugary sweet. "There's been a terrible misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding. You almost killed my daughter. The police have been very clear about that." Donald stepped forward. "Now listen here, young lady." "No, you listen. You destroyed my property, blocked me from leaving my own house, and prevented me from calling for emergency medical help while my child was dying. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a crime." Patricia's mask slipped. "We were trying to protect Emma from unnecessary medical intervention. She had anaphylaxis. She needed epinephrine. Your natural remedies would have killed her." "You're being so dramatic," Patricia said, but her voice wavered. "She had a fever. Children get fevers." Her lips were blue, Patricia. She couldn't breathe. "And you smashed my phone to prevent me from getting help." Mrs. Chen came out onto her porch, arms crossed. "I saw what happened, Jade. I'm happy to testify." Donald pointed at her. "This is none of your business. You made it my business when Jade came running to my house at night with a dying child because you wouldn't let her call 911. Patricia turned back to me, tears forming. "Jade, please. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Can't we work this out as a family?" "Work it out? Work it out?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You could have killed Emma. You destroyed my phone. You cut my internet. You physically blocked doors. And now you want to work it out?" "We're Marcus's parents," Donald said. "You can't just cut us out of his life, out of Emma's life." "Watch me. I filed a restraining order. You're not allowed within 500 feet of me or Emma." Patricia's tears turned to anger. "You can't do that. Marcus won't allow it. Marcus doesn't get a say. He stood there and watched you almost kill our daughter. I filed for separation." "You're destroying this family!" Patricia shrieked. Casey's car pulled up and she got out with her husband, Tom. "Everything okay, Jade?" "Just fine. Patricia and Donald were just leaving." "We're not going anywhere," Donald said firmly. "This is our son's house, too." Tom, who was 6'4" and worked construction, stepped forward. "The lady asked you to leave. I suggest you do it." "Or what?" Donald challenged. "Or I call the police right now and tell them you're violating the restraining order that's being processed," I said, holding up my new phone. "Your choice." Patricia grabbed Donald's arm. "We should go." "No, they can't treat us like criminals." Donald pulled away from her and took a step toward me. "You're a hysterical, ungrateful—" He didn't finish because he grabbed my arm through the door opening. Tom immediately pulled him back. "That's assault," Casey said, already dialing 911. "And we all saw it." Donald's face went red. "You turned our son against us. This is your fault." "No, you almost killing my daughter is your fault. You destroying my property is your fault. You preventing me from calling 911 is your fault." My voice was steel. "And now assaulting me is your fault." Patricia was crying. "Please, Jade, we'll do anything. We'll take an anger management class. We'll respect your parenting choices. Just please don't press charges." "You should have thought about that before you smashed my phone while my daughter was dying." "It was a mistake!" Patricia wailed. "It was a choice. You chose your beliefs over my daughter's life. You chose to destroy my property. You chose to trap me in my own home. Those weren't mistakes. Those were deliberate actions." Police sirens sounded in the distance. Donald's eyes widened. "You called the cops on us? On your own family?" "You're not my family anymore. You lost that right when you put Emma in danger." The police car pulled up and Officer Martinez stepped out. "Officer Martinez," I said. "Donald just grabbed my arm. These witnesses saw it, and they're here in violation of the restraining order I filed." "The restraining order isn't active yet," Officer Martinez said. "But the assault is a problem, sir. Put your hands behind your back." "This is insane!" Donald shouted as he was handcuffed. Patricia sobbed. "Donald, just cooperate, please." As they put him in the patrol car, Patricia turned to me one last time. "I hope you're happy. You've destroyed everything." "No, Patricia. You destroyed everything the moment you decided your beliefs were more important than Emma's life. Now get off my property." She left, and I sagged against the doorframe. Casey put her arm around me. "You okay?" "I will be, once they're out of our lives for good." The district attorney charged Patricia with criminal mischief, and both with child endangerment and unlawful restraint. Donald got an additional assault charge. My lawyer, Andrea, called with the plea deal details: community service, probation, mandatory counseling, permanent restraining order, and full restitution. I want them to admit what they did in court. No excuses. They'll have to allocute. At the hearing, the judge asked them to explain their actions. Patricia spoke through tears. "We prevented our daughter-in-law from calling 911 when our granddaughter was having a medical emergency. I destroyed her phone. My husband cut their internet and blocked doors. Our granddaughter almost died because of us," Donald continued. "I physically prevented Jade from leaving to get help. Later, I grabbed her arm. I endangered my granddaughter's life because of my beliefs." The judge sentenced them 3 years probation, 500 hours community service each, mandatory counseling, permanent restraining order, and full restitution. After the hearing, Patricia approached me. "Jade, please, don't we deserve a second chance?" "You had your chance. You chose your beliefs over her life." "Marcus, talk to her," Patricia begged. Marcus shook his head. "Mom, you almost killed our daughter. You don't get another chance." Donald stepped forward. "After everything we've done for you? You almost killed my daughter, Dad. That's what I'll remember." We walked away. Outside, Casey hugged me. "You did it, girl." 6 months later, Emma is thriving with her EpiPens always nearby. Marcus and I are rebuilding trust in counseling. Patricia and Donald send letters begging forgiveness, but I return them unopened. "No regrets?" Casey asked over coffee. "None. I protected my daughter. That's all that matters." Emma calls from the living room. "Mommy, come play." I smile. That's my cue. And I did earn this peace. Every single bit of it. What would you do if your in-laws prevented you from calling 911 during a medical emergency? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life revenge stories.